Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you're on the air with Power Squared. Our guest tonight is Michael Boheem, the creator behind Dopecat, whom we met at WonderCon, this past WonderCon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, good to see you again.
So, how was your WonderCon?
It was decent. Like it started off kind of slow, and then it kind of picked up, and then through Sunday it was a nice time. Met a lot of new people, and that was cool.
Good. Ours was slow from the beginning.
These conventions, they're gonna have their slow points. So, and definitely at WonderCon where we're at, it can get slow, but
Yeah, we've talked to several people that were there and since, and the fact that Artist Alley and Small Press are so far apart from each other kind of isn't good.
yeah, I hear that a lot. It would be cool to be over there. I feel like we're like stuck over on the side like that, and we get lost in the mix.
Yeah, unless you're gonna go to Funko or something, you're not gonna come over that way.
Yeah,
It's kind
maybe
of
bring a flare.
bad. Have you tabled there many times?
Well, this is my third time in Anaheim, and it's one of the better shows actually. So, although the placement isn't great, I do have a great time there. Um, I've actually my first WonderCon I ever did was in Oakland, California.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
because
long
it
time.
used to be in Oakland and then in San Francisco, and then when Comic Con got it, well, I guess like they got it with San Francisco and then Anaheim.
They used to have a small press thing. I thought at one time there was a third show.
Alternate Press Expo.
Okay.
That's
Or AMP.
right. Yeah, yeah. Alternative Press Expo. That was a cool one too in San Jose.
Yeah, they stopped having that one, I think, because I don't know. Comic Con's is not for profit, I guess.
Yeah.
So, when did you discover that you wanted to be an artist?
When I wanted to be an artist, it's probably doing scribble scrabbles for my parents, and they'd put it up. We'd have a little museum in their closet, and they'd put them up there, and you get to look at them and be so proud of yourself. And then, yeah, that would have been the start. And then, just like a lot of positive stuff for my family. And then, just curiosity too. It was like so cool. And in comics is just so cool. Like you'd see these weird characters and you wonder, well, what is that? What is that dude? And like, who created it? How did they come up with it? Everything.
Right. So, were there certain artists that inspire you or inspired you?
Well, going way back, let's think. I mean, definitely, because I used to get these reprints. My dad had this book catalog thing, and they'd have these old reprints. This guy, I think his name was Bill Blackbeard, is a cool name, and he had all these old comic strips and stuff, and he'd do compilations and stuff. And he was a big deal that he had those. Otherwise, probably a lot of those wouldn't even exist. But like the old Popeyes, the very very original ones I'd get, and those are just awesome comics to look at because they were pretty advanced already back then. And then definitely Fritz the Cat, and obviously my comic Dope Cat has a lot similar with Fritz the Cat. And I my mom accidentally bought one of those. I grew up in Berkeley, so those things are everywhere, and she accidentally bought one of those for me when I was like 7 or 8.
Okay. So that got you off onto a good start there.
Heck yeah. And then just like I like a lot of the even the superhero stuff and just all kind of stuff.
I was going to ask if you had ever read the Fabulous Freak Brothers or anything.
Of course, yeah, that's a
Okay.
classic. The thing with those ones is Freak Brothers or Fritz or a lot of those underground is you go it's a comic with just has drugs in it, and it's that's the only appealing thing. But if you actually look at them, some of these guys like Gilbert Shelton or Robert Crumb were amazing draftsmen and cartoonists, and the timing in them is brilliant, which is really hard to do.
Yeah, I remember my brother brought some back from when he went to college, and there was like, drugs. How come these are on the shelves?
Yeah.
I can't get these in 7-Eleven. Um, did you go to any school to study art, or did you just self-taught?
No, I did. I mean, I self-taught myself, but I was definitely not a good self-teacher. I probably I stopped drawing for like I would make comics of my friends and stuff, just put them in comics and make fun of them and bring them down and we'd laugh. And then probably like I was 13, you start getting into girls and stuff, and I quit for a while, and then I started up probably 18 or 19 as I started getting serious again. I did go to art school. There's a cool art school here called the California College of Arts and Crafts. It's called the California College of Arts now, but it didn't have a comic book program way back then. I was like back in the late 80s or 90s and stuff, but turns out Mike Mignola actually went there, the Hellboy dude. So yeah, because he was a local guy too. And yeah, that was it. But you didn't learn comics there. If you wanted to learn comics, you'd want to go over to New York, and then they had like the School of Visual Arts, and they had a lot of top comic book dudes teaching this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. New York was sort of the hub at the time. So have you been involved in comic books before Dopecat?
Yeah. So I originally, probably in the early 90s, I was starting to do comics, and I had this other funny animal comics that also was kind of like Dopecat, but probably a little more violent and stuff to it, and more punk rock. And I was drawing them, and then back then, we didn't have the internet yet. That was like the early 90s, so I would just send them out to all the different publishers, and they'd all come back and go, we don't want this stuff. It turned out, I mean, besides the content matter, one of the problems is just that when I got into it, that was when two things. One, the whole comic, because the whole comic market was just collapsing, plus black and white funny animal comics, which were big in the 80s with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they spawned a bunch. But then same with like underground comics, you get too many of them, people get sick of them, and then you get a lot of like not good ones. So I was coming in after that. So retailers, and the only way to really, well, I guess you could do conventions too, but you'd have to go, you didn't have the internet to promote yourself. So you'd have to go through the Diamond catalogs, and there was other distributors back then, but they would carry them, but the retailers, almost nobody would buy them and stuff. But then I sent it to Fantagraphics, and they liked it, but they was telling me, no, we're not publishing funny animal stuff, but you can work on a porno line. They had a porno line. And that's actually apparently the Love and Rockets and 8-Ball and Hate and all these amazing comics, they weren't making most of the money from back then. They were making it from the Eros comics, apparently. Yeah, and I think what they did was they give up and coming artists a chance. So if they like your stuff, they go, I'll try this Eros stuff and see how it goes, and so they get some comics that could sell off of that. Plus some of those artists would end up getting a career and becoming pretty cool alternative artists and stuff. But mine, I think it lasted like 3 issues and they canceled it.
I remember when our local store opened, they had like an adult section of comics, but it was like porn movies done as comic books and stuff. That's when Tyler remembers some porn title. But
yeah, there was a whole line of that, and it was actually pretty crazy because the editor, she calls me up and she says, Mike, something I'm really upset about. Something happened. I was like, what happened? And she goes, a store got busted for carrying them. I think it was in Oklahoma. and yeah, they just in my comic and a couple others. The other one I remember was the Red Sonja guy. I forget what the comic was, but I think his name was Frank Thorne. But yeah, we got our comics from Playboy magazine because they did a whole article on this. But it sucked though because this owners of this comic book store, they just got rung through. They lost their jobs and their wives and everything. So
This is
I'm
Oklahoma
in
too.
danger. Yeah.
Kind of a little more backwards there. I'm from Texas originally, so Oklahoma was sort of a joke to us, but
Yeah.
So what inspired Dopecat?
Well, the short answer is cats and weed. Obviously,
Oh, that's where it comes from. Okay, thanks. No.
yeah. I mean, a longer story is basically I had quit doing comics, so I was doing these other comics like Rabbit Animal Comics was the punk rock animal comics talked about, and I did a few others. And I should tell you, I actually did. It's pretty crazy, but some of my buddies, they got the licensing for Gumby.
Wow.
And they were in a pinch. They needed a writer for a free comic book day, Gumby. And I said, I'll do it. And the guy goes, okay. And I was like, really? So I got to write and draw this Gumby comic. The son of the guy invented Gumby. So Art Clokey was the inventor, but this Joe Clokey's like, he told my buddy, he's like, I don't ever want him working on Gumby again.
What did you have Gumby do?
You got to say it was funny. I had him do a lot of stuff. There was innuendos, you know.
And that went out on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, I went out on Free Comic Book Day. Got a couple of good reviews. I don't know how my buddy didn't see it, but I was laughing the whole time. He wasn't too happy about it at first, but we made up. But yeah, and then so then Dopecat, I had actually quit for a while, for like maybe 10 years or something, because the comics is just like, it's a rough business and stuff, and I was doing other stuff. And then I started actually meditating, and my family was saying, oh, you're too strung out, I think it's because from not doing the art, and then I was just too just a little bit off, you know. And so I started meditating and stuff, and that's when this cat head just started coming in my head, and the whole Dopecat. And I was like, well, these stories started coming to me, and I was like, do I want to start doing comics again? And then I was like, if I do comics, I can't do Dopecat because it's too close to Fritz the cat. So it's like Dope Dog, Dope Aardvark, coming up. None of them sounded right though. I was like, yeah, screw it, I'll just do Dopecat and whatever. So yeah, that's how that all came about. And I just started drawing a ton of them, and I didn't start posting them though for like 1 or 2 years. I waited till I got a bunch of them together, and then like around when COVID happened, I had a lot of free time, and that's when I started posting them and stuff.
So what's a typical Dopecat issue like?
Typical Dopecat issue, it's kind of like been going into this continuation story, but it started off just him and his significant other. It's like always trying to get him to do stupid stuff like fix the house or get a job while he's doing important things like getting high and playing video games.
Right.
So that was like the first one, and getting all these fights and stuff, and then other stuff like you're just hanging around, you start like watching the news, which I actually quit doing, but they'll start talking about something like plastics, and then you start trying to avoid all these plastics and stuff, and then it makes you mental because everything's plastic. So there's a whole issue of him just like figuring out everything's plastic, and then turn out even all the people are plastic, and they're trying to turn him plastic, and he runs away. Yeah, stuff like that. The last one had he met a purple dragon named Flubel or something. But these names come into my head, and I go, I'll just write that down and I'll change it later.
Yeah.
I never change it. So there's some stupid names and like, well, that's how it came out. Not my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time remembering our character names, but that's just me. Um, so, who's the ideal reader of Dopecat?
Well, I kind of think of it as like I'm trying to stamp out illiteracy one stoner at a time.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to put in things that stoners are gonna like. Like obviously smoking weed and girls and different hijinks like that. Kind of things that are kind of a little more out there, more aliens, Bigfoot, things like that.
Okay. Do your sales spike on 420?
They probably don't really spike on foot. I know they should, right? Yeah, it's kind of more of a continual thing. I definitely go out and sell them on 420, and yeah, I like going because we met at that comic convention, but I do a lot of weed festivals too,
Well,
which
yeah.
are actually way more fun.
I can imagine. Yes.
Yeah, and it's cool to do that kind of thing because, like, if I go to a comic place, I might be the only person selling a weed comic, but of course, tons of other people are selling comics. But when I'm at the weed festival, I'm the only one selling comics. Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Is that a good venue for you then?
definitely. Yeah.
Okay. We know. Okay, you did a Kickstarter a little while ago.
Yeah, I've done like 4
Okay.
Kickstarters. They keep getting progressively worse. It's like
But
the last one started going up again, so hopefully that's the new trend.
okay. We've had a guy on the show like 12 times.
Yeah.
Lucas Sheffel, and he was like, "Oh, Dopecat." He remembered he backed your Kickstarter one time.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. What's his name? Lucas?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sheffel.
thank
Yeah.
you, Lucas.
He does Angry Fred comics, and he's actually just did a Kickstarter himself.
Oh, right on.
He's
I
down
got it.
he's down in Australia, and he went to this, like, the government is helping Kickstarters, and they, like, gave him extra money from what he raised and stuff. It's like, this is
Wow,
yeah,
that's
we're
awesome.
in the wrong place.
I don't know if I want to be in Australia. I'm all right here.
Okay, well, I just anyway. Um, you've also worked on some other books, Almost Human.
Anthropomorphic.
There you go. Funnies.
Yeah, where'd you see? I haven't even ever seen that. I sent that dude. He's up in Canada or something.
Well,
Yeah.
I looked you up, and that was one of the things they showed, that you were one of the contributors to that.
Right on. Yeah, that's some. I think his name is Dexter or something. He's up in Canada. So he always asks me for stuff, so try and send him some stuff.
And there's also the Essential Spread Love comics.
Yeah, that's the same dude.
Okay,
Yeah.
you haven't seen that either.
No.
What did you do for them? Was it a story,
It
or
was
was it?
dope. Not yeah, it was more Dopecat stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think those ones are just stuff I already did, and I sent it to them. Yeah,
Oh,
because people ask me for stuff, and sometimes they can't pay. Or like comics. I don't know how much money he's making. Hopefully, he's making some, but a lot of these people, they're not making a lot, so just helping them out and whatever.
yeah. Well, we're not making. I always kind of feel like we're in a non-profit business. Are there other books you've worked on?
Let's see. Other books I worked on. I don't know. I've done a couple of record covers and T-shirts, and
Who did your record album covers for?
it was some dude. I was actually just on his podcast. He's out of Iowa, Des Moines. It was like a compilation thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then some rapper dude and some local band here.
Did they find you, or did you find them?
No, they'll just see. Like I met. I think they're all the time. It's at shows and stuff, like conventions and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Do you? Okay. So,
Hold on. I gotta say. Sorry.
That's fine.
Repulsive. The Apple. She's out of San Francisco, but she's like a tattoo artist and she does comics and stuff. So I did some stuff for her.
Some tattoos for her?
No, no, no.
I just
She put out a comic book, a little
ah,
anthology with different artists. I did some stuff for her too.
okay. Uh, do you make a living from your art, or do you have a day job, or?
Yeah, no, I have a day job too. That at some point I'll probably quit it, but
Uh,
yeah, the comics the comics is probably like if my business if I just did the t-shirts and everything but the comics,
uh-huh.
I probably could just quit my day job on the comics. But that's the most fun thing, so I ain't gonna quit it.
Yeah. So okay, that's good. So what's a typical day like for you then?
Uh, Doing the dope cat or what?
Just do you? I mean, like I have a day job I have to do every
Yeah,
day.
like my day job, uh, like I'm a teacher, so I got to be pretty straight when I go over there.
Are you public school or private school?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a public school. I teach art, so yeah, and then I don't even. That's why I don't tell them nothing that I do or anything because I could like my students. I could probably make more money off of them than anybody else.
What grade do you teach?
High school.
Oh yeah, yeah, you could do really
Uh,
well.
yeah, they all know I smoked. I don't know how they know. I tell them I don't, but
Has
can't hide that from
they,
us.
they haven't made the connection to Dopecat yet?
Nah, because I use a different name for
Right.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then, but I give it give you a lot of free time because I'm not working a 9 to 5 job, so I got extra hours and stuff. And then you get holidays and stuff, so that allows me to go to conventions and then get more work, more drawing and stuff done too.
Okay. Do you do commissions at conventions?
I do, but I try not to do them so much just because they take up my time and like I'll usually like yeah. I mean, I'll do them if people ask because it's and I only draw. Well, I shouldn't say I only do, but I mainly only draw Dope Cat. If they want me to draw something else that's not Dope Cat, then I charge them an exorbitant amount. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna sit there not wanting to do it, which I do anyways. But at least like now, I'm putting effort into something I made decent money on.
Okay.
But yeah, I try to get a bunch of sketches beforehand, so I can just sell them there. Yeah.
Now, one of the things we noticed was, and I think you kind of told us a little bit of your sales tactic, is you kind of have a postcard, you hold it out, and you can like hold on to it a little bit. It's like, can I tell you about my book? That's brilliant. We're gonna have to try to do that next time.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Because people are like, you gotta think just like yourself when you walk. You can be walking around in a fog and stuff, and I've had people come up and then, stop them and because a bunch of people you stop and they telling oh, thanks and they just walk away, but then you get the people that are interested and I've had people that have thanked me for stopping them and stuff and they bought stuff and so it's your public service to kind of go, hey, check this out and
Yeah.
now they know they're interested, they're not interested, but it's cool to turn people on to new stuff.
I saw somebody at WonderCon. We're going to try to copy what they did, which is she had like a little video screen going of her character. We have some short videos of our characters. We thought that would at least be kind of you know
Eye catching.
eye catching.
Yeah, you just got to try whatever and see.
Yeah. Oh,
Throw science at the wall and see what's.
yeah. Yeah. We're just trying to different things, but that was like, oh, that looks pretty easy to do, and we have the stuff already kind of. We've already made some videos, short videos about the characters and stuff, and it'd be colorful and.
Yeah, just do like me, draw a cat smoking a blunt. People, you'll get a certain people come.
Well, see, our characters don't actually do drugs, but well,
It's
maybe
not
they do.
like
We don't know, but
art.
I don't think they do. Um, so do you? So you do table at different conventions?
Sure,
Do you have
yeah.
a favorite?
Well, actually, WonderCon is one of my more favorite of the comic conventions. Let's see, other ones. I just did Staple. It's like a small press one in Austin, Texas. I've never been to Austin before, so that was kind of cool.
I went to
And,
school there.
oh, right on. And then let's see, other ones I like. Some of them that like. Well, I shouldn't say it, like San Diego Comic Con I like, but that one, man, where I was placed, that was a war zone. Like you're fighting with the people next to you and everything.
Were you in Artist Alley?
Small press.
Oh, okay.
But their small press, I would say, it's just a bigger con anyways, but it's a little better than the placement at WonderCon.
Well, yeah, because we're trying to get into small press there.
Emerald City Comic Con is cool too.
That's Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like about the small press at Comic Con is that when people have to come down the stairs to the room, you're kind of right there, as opposed to you're totally on the other side of the wall. And
Right.
Yeah, WonderCon was yeah.
But these weed festivals are probably some of the most fun. You see crazy stuff going on there, and there's never a shortage of weed. And it's funny because people will come by my table and go, "Give me free weed," and then other people come up and go, "Hey, are you selling weed?" And you just selling the weed you just got for free.
Do you have to be? I mean, did you have to be careful? Or are there undercover people at those things?
Nah, it's all nah.
I don't know.
Nah.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking the question. I don't hope there's
No,
not.
it's all on the up and up, and yeah, I guess if you did it in Des Moines, Iowa, or somewhere where it's illegal, yeah, but
Yeah, well, yeah. You're doing it in California. That's
yeah, it's California, Oregon, doing that.
okay. That's yeah. I don't ever. I think it should be legal. So it's good that you can actually do that now here. So, do you have any advice for someone trying to break into the comic book industry besides go to weed festivals?
But I mean, he could just make a dope smoking cat and start there. That's what I did. I don't know what kind of advice to give other than just like, I mean, comics is you guys draw them too, or what?
We actually write, and we have artists that draw in color.
So, I mean, I write them, but that's its own thing. But the drawing part is such a hurdle to get over because, like, doing a single illustration is there's a lot of people who do great illustration that can't draw a comic book
Yeah.
because once you start getting in them little boxes and having to put them in these different positions and tell a story, it's a hurdle. It takes a while. So just don't. I mean, my big advice, just don't quit. Because you're going to look at your stuff and it's going to not look good. But if you keep going, it'll get better. There's probably, some people, maybe it never really gets better. But if you love it so much, just keep doing it.
All right. So we ask everybody who's been on the show, and most say no. Have you ever read Power Squared?
I have not read.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. No one. You're in the majority. I hate to say. We'll send you some issues so you can say you've read.
Guilt me. I'll read it. I
What?
like reading. I would definitely read it. I like reading because I always get like a stack full of comics. Some of them people hand them to me. Some of them just buy. Like if someone next to me, I'll go buy the comic and check it out and stuff. It's just fun. Like that's the cool thing with comics is it's just fun to see what comes out of people. And even if it's not so professional, I don't want to say good or anything, but it's like at a professional level or something like that. It's just people expressing themselves that to me is super cool.
Good. So if somebody wanted to follow you, what's the best way to do that?
I usually don't look behind me, so as long as
But I
and
mean,
just
social media.
The smoke social media, Instagram's probably the best. Yeah, just go on Instagram. I do have a website. Oh, actually, the best is I do a newsletter weekly. So
Wow.
you can go on my I have a link tree on my Instagram. Go on there and get it, and you get a lot of free comics, and there's stuff that's not in the comic books and stuff on there.
You do a weekly newsletter?
Yeah,
Wow. We did that for a while. And was it Kamal Hennessy said you should do it like monthly, not do it every week, but because it was a big churn to do it all the time. So I give you a lot of credit for doing it.
yeah. I mean, it's very minimal what I do.
Oh, okay.
I'll sit there and go like, what am I gonna say? Here's this week's comic.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, again, thank you for being on the show.
Heck yeah.
And best of luck with Dopecat in the future, and I hope we're at a con together.
Thanks.
Are you tabling anywhere?
The next ones I'll be at was a little local toy store called I don't know, Time Tunnel in Santa Clara. The bigger ones. Oh, I'm going out to Denver. Yeah, the Fan Expo out in Denver in July. I'm going to be doing.
Oh, cool.
So that's cool.
All right. Well, again, thanks for being on the show. So until
If you're watching this on YouTube later and you like this, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more.
and we should talk about the
Yeah, and if you're looking for a silent fidget toy, use our code Martin Eli to save 10% off your order at getono.com.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins,
I'm Paul Hankins.
and you've been on the air with Power Squared. Bye.